much for the whole property, all interiors, and then also we do renders for the garden as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's been overlooked so many times, and then I don't see why you don't want to use that space and then create something which is consistent with what you've done with the interiors as well. Because
and you're blending in things like planning obligations, like they might have to have bike storage and they might have to have whatever. Right. So you're involving all of that into that functionality and design.
That as well. Plus, we're creating some more seating on the outdoor space. For example, in those sunny days that we have, from time to time. Yeah. Why not have those tenants like being outside, maybe working on a laptop or like having a drink in the evening, just create like an extension of the house. Even like it's like a 10-15 square meters of space that they can like sit down and then have a chat. I don't know, have a beer or just I don't know. Yeah. Something to enjoy after work. I think is great to have. But obviously the 3D are massively important, I think, because you can't really make an informed decision regarding how the space is going to look, which kind of finish is going to have, especially if you want to create a product which is a bit more premium, higher end. And
did you find that visualization? It's when because for yourself being in this sector, you probably see things a lot sooner than the layman client that comes in, and the minute that you show them those 3D renders, I've looked at some of your examples, and you go, okay, right, all of a sudden it makes sense to them.
Yeah, makes sense for you to go ahead with that solution. Makes sense for you to have something in front of you and then say, you know what, we've been in a situation when we went a bit above the standard and actually went premium some HM that we've done, and then we created some recessed lighting, some paneling, and some antique mirrors, of like LED strips for some floating shelves, and then it's impossible to see those in 2D. You're not gonna know that. So obviously that helps with passing the information to the contractor. Say these are the 2Ds, these are the renders. The room is gonna look like this. And as a result of you having really accurate renders, then you complete, in a way, the survey, and then say you give them the M&Es as well, mechanical, electrical. So just because we have these rooms here with these floating shelves and this lighting, this recent lighting, so that means we're going to have to allow PowerPoints for this, for that. Yeah. And the waste, the drainage is going to be in that location and so on. So the renders... that's so important, and you getting a really good understanding how the space is going to look like. Yeah. To cost it right, and then to pass information to builders, to make sure that this covers everything in detail, and then to move on to the next step, which is M&Es. Okay. And also to market the property way in advance, because as we know, if you're taking a 3 or 4 bedroom house and then want to convert it into a 7-8 bedroom HMO, this is going to take months to have it ready. By the time you do an extension, your loft conversion, things like that, you don't want to wait until everything is finished and then start rushing to have it advertised, get it online. Yeah,
first on spare room adverts and actually fill in the rooms.
Because you can use those renders months in advance, 2 or 3 months in advance, and then start testing the property to see how much is gonna achieve, and then not being pressured by time to fill all those 8 rooms. I'm sure that those rooms are going to be rented out quite easily because the rental market is doing well at the moment. Yeah, but you can test how much you can get for it and not being rushed by time. By the time, let's say if you want to rent a particular room, just give an example with 675, you can try 790, for example, see what happens. You're not being pressured by time, and you have that freedom on like your test, see how much inquiries they have. And then if you have let's say 8 inquiries and you only need 8 tenants, that's quite easy to do. And then maximize how much you could get. But again, that tenants out there which they're looking for higher spec rooms. And then we want to make sure in a way that we provide such product. Obviously, this is not for everyone. That the landlords out there which they're just happy to provide like a standard type room, because the thing is they a lot of tenants waiting to get a room. So, and then you said, usually what they say is like, if you don't like it, there's another 10 waiting. So this is what we have. So, but it's in a way not fair for...
The way you've described, obviously, well, not the way you describe it as well, but what's obvious with what you do within the HMO space, you only get one chance at development to get it right at that stage, to create, the scatter cushions and the wallpaper and things like that. They will fade and they will go and they'll need to be renewed. But the functionality in the space and the way the property flows and the way the tenants work together, those things you can't really go back and reverse engineer. So, even if you're in a high demand tenant area, you might 4 or 5 years down the line, you might suddenly be thinking, well, hang on, why have I not got? Because the demand might start to drop, saturation might start to creep in. But if you're one of the HMOs where all of those fundamentals, so the first 2 points of the interior design, the functionality and thinking about the avatar, if you've not got those two, you can't go back and do those two. Maybe if you've got an existing HMO, you can come in and you can sort of style a room. You can put new feature walls in, you can put wood paneling in, but you can't create the space again.
No.
Yeah.
So this is doing what you mentioned earlier, just like you're almost like fixing some of the issues you have with all the functional stuff. We know all the situation. Like a lot of people have been in a situation when they end up with a socket behind the sofa or the bed and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't address this so early in the process, like, okay, which size of bed are you going to have? Is it going to be a small double, king, or whatever the space allows? Then the next question is, okay, which size cabinet, bedside cabinet you're having? Which type of lighting going to have? Is it just a standard lamp? Is it a wall hang? Is it pendant? So obviously, tackling this question from the very beginning is going to give you really good understanding for the team to implement on site, because the builder and the electrician comes on site so early. The electrician comes on site when you're going to only have your stud walls, and then they need to know exactly where that power point is going to be, according to the position of the bed, the bedside cabinet, and then which kind of light you're going to have. Yeah. And then this applies to your desk, the kitchenette, or if you're like recessed lighting and things like that. So obviously, if you don't tackle all these technical aspects early on, then it's too late. And then a lot of people, they find in that situation and say, you know what, we're just going to leave it like that. It's too costly now to get guys back again, to change this, to change that, cut through plasterboard, and it's too late. Yeah. And then obviously, tenants are coming in, but you're not creating that optimal experience for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then if everything flows right, and then you don't have to think about it. You will come in and it's like, this is nice. It looks great, functional well. And you're going to have sockets anyway, right? No matter what. You're going to have lighting anyway, but which kind of lighting? Where the sockets are, things like that. So like small details like make a massive impact.
And would that be your final step then? What would be your kind of client sign off when the site's been finished and delivered and it's been...
So we do the realistic renders, and together with that we also do some 360 degrees views within the room itself.
Okay, yeah.
So you're able to like spin in the room itself to see how everything's gonna look. You can look at the floor, you can look at the ceiling, you can all around, and then you can use those links to market the property as well, which is I think is a really good advantage.
Yeah,
I mean, usually have that on spare room. It doesn't exist usually. And as a result of that, once it's all done and finished, all the renders are approved, we have the M&E drawings, because we've been through changes in renders. We changed this, we changed that.